Hello, hello. Are we here? Are we here? Are we live? Waiting. Waiting. There we go. Okay. Where are we? Come on, stream. Let's go. Let's load it up. Hold on. This takes like... There we go. Now we're live. There we go. For some reason, on YouTube, takes a good like minute after I click live and it like starts the stream up to actually like pair up the stream and all of that. So yeah, apologies that it took so long. But strong team tonight. Good afternoon, good evening, good day to you all. I know. 10 Hag excuses. 10 excuses. Later tears. James Lates. I don't know. I'm not good at this. But yeah, really strong team tonight. I can't share the whole thing yet, but it's looking good. I'd be quite happy with this team tonight. I'm very excited. Happy we rested Rashford for the Europa League. Well, look, there's rotation. How many people are rotated from the starting lineup? Oh, it's only like 3, maybe. There's like 3 rotations from the weekend. The thing is, yeah, we need a strong team at the weekend too. But yeah, there's like 3 rotations from last week. 3 rotations. Look, Ten Hag was always going to go very strong, very strong on Europa, okay? Yeah, like I rate Europa very highly. Ten Hag does not mess around with these cup comps and things like that. You know, yeah, he does not mess around with these cup comps, and I rate Europa. I mean, I think that, you know, like, let's say we get 8th and we win the FA Cup. It's a failure of a season. But if we get 8th, 7th, and we win Europa, I'd actually be happy with it. I wasn't happy with the FA Cup in 8th because I don't think it's that great comparatively, and you don't get Champions League. But Europa gives you a European trophy and Champions League, and I think that meets the qualifications for a successful season when you can win Europa League kind of regardless of everything else. So yes, I'm excited about this team. I do think we need to, go hard on Europa League. Go hard on Europa League. It's a big one. So, yeah, we'll get into the team. We'll get on the team. I don't know who Patty Murphy is, but I saw some stuff about some racial videos and things like that. And, you know, yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, lineup tonight. Here we go. Ready? Hold on. Let's go into it. We're going to add it up. Boom. That's the front 3. Ready? Here we go. We're going to keep going. Bruno in the team, right? Let me just make sure of something because I just making sure I'm not doing something stupid. Hold on one second. One moment. There we go. Yeah. All right. We're good. Eriksen. Ugarte. Yeah, Eriksen 4 games in a row is a little bit of a surprise. Dallo. Lissandro. Maguire. Maz. No, this is the lineup. This is it. Yeah, this is the real deal. This is the real lineup. That's it. That's the starting 11. It's quite strong. Very strong. Yeah. Yeah, quite strong. Arguably, this could be our best lineup in a, well, I mean, one or two players, right? I mean, obviously, you'd probably take De Ligt in for Maguire. Eriksen, the concern is, of course, his, he's played 3 or 4 games. The question has always been, right, like, how do you get Kobbie Mainoo into this team? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't be in the team, but you have to play Ugarte. You have to get him going. And I think at the weekend against Tottenham, I would imagine Christian Eriksen doesn't start, and it'll be Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno, because you need a little bit more legs. But honestly, it is a question of, Spurs are too dynamic and physical for him. I would agree with that. That's what I think as well. But yeah, I mean, it's arguably the best one. We'll see. I think it's our best front three. I think getting Kobbie more rest is a good thing. But yeah, I mean, in general, if you were to ask me, I would be putting Kobbie Mainoo in. We've spoken about Bruno recently. I think he's been really poor. I think he's been bad, frankly. I mean, just straight up bad. Looking at this again, our charts and on data and all of that. By the way, by the end of it, United 6th in expected goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10th in expected goals against. Now, here's the thing. Look at Arsenal, for example. I don't rate Arsenal. They're on lower expected points than us. They've been lucking out a bit, They've scored more goals on a lot lower XG, conceded less on the same XG. I really don't rate. I understand they've had red cards and things, but I think they've been pretty poor. But for United, I showed this stat before on our team, on our players. Let's go minimum 50 minutes in the league. Oops. What is this? What did I do? Go to page 1. Here we go. If we look at like our numbers here, Bruno 1 assist, 0 goals on 1. He's missing shots. He's not creating that much right now. We don't need him to create chances anymore, and if he's out of form, we have to be able to drop him. Everybody else is droppable, and we've got to be able to make that change if we can. But this is the team for today. Mount on the bench. He should be, as far as I know, he is. Mount is on the bench. I will be doing a stream today, a watch along on Big Up. The link is below. It's going to be, again, it's really fun. Your website, your link, your sign-in that worked for Tifo before is now Big Up. It will all work the same. We're adding this tactics board shortly. Here, I want to show you what it looks like. This is really cool, right? This is an example of how it looks like. This is coming to the streaming soon. Like, you can draw and do all this stuff. It's going to make these videos a lot of fun, and the watch-alongs and the live stream. So I think that's coming today or tomorrow, but maybe not for the stream today. But yeah, this is a good lineup. This is a good lineup. I think it's great. Dropping Ahmad versus Spurs. No, I mean, depends on the subs. Everybody should be able to play. Does it come with the dude in top right? No, but I wish it did to help me out. Yeah, I mean, I think that what we need with this team, it depends on the subs, right? Our players should be able to play 2 games a week. Our most fit ones. I mean, Rashford should be pretty fresh. He was rested at the weekend. He could play 2 games. Xerxes hasn't played that much. I mean, he keeps coming off at 60 minutes. He could play more than that. Ahmad, same story, though. I think Eriksen will be rotated at the weekend. Lissandro was the one on the bench last week, if I'm not mistaken. In the cup game, was it Lissandro on the bench and it was De Ligt and Maguire starting? I can't recall. Or was it De Ligt on the bench with Lissandro? It was Lissandro on the bench, right? And it was De Ligt and Maguire starting. So they're getting some rotation. This is the lineup. So they're getting some rotation. Evans and Maguire. Oh, right. They both got rest. Okay, you're right. Yeah. So they got rotation. So Martinez, I imagine De Ligt will come on at some point, maybe for Martinez to give him a breather. We don't really have options here. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about was the left back situation. You know, in recent videos I've been talking, and before the break I kept kind of mentioning that I don't really know about Luke Shaw actually coming back anytime soon. You know, when he was supposed to be back right after the break, I kept saying, I don't know about that, because that would, what I would, you know, unfortunately, as I was told, there's definitely some serious concern with his health, you know, alarm bells going off with his health, like, you know, that this was not looking good, and that he was not coming back as quickly as he could, that he was not getting there, you know, and it could be weeks more, 3-4 weeks. It could be after the next international break. It's so hard to predict with Luke Shaw when his health is going to be better. And so those alarm bells were going off. So they're looking at left backs. They have to get a starter in. And the thing with Tyrell Malacia is it's great that he's doing warm-ups with the team, but he's not in team training. He's still ways away. He's, if ever, being fully back at the level that they want. That's just the reality of it. That's why he's doing still individual programs and training and all of that. And, you know, even when he was fit, I don't think he was a starting caliber left back for us, regardless. They really did hope and had some positive belief with the time that Shaw was investing in rehab. I get people talking about him going to the Euros, but he spent most of the time just rehabbing and working in a professional environment. So I really don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, they really had high hopes that with everything that's being done, and there are things that the new team are doing to improve on the medical side, to improve on injury returns, on reduce reoccurrence. But I think with Shaw, there's practically nothing you can do about it, because a lot of it simply stems from the fact that he has a metal rod in his leg from that break. And it's like your body's not supposed to have that issue. You know what I mean? Like, your body's just not supposed to. The muscles and the bones and everything aren't made for that. Malacia is in training videos, but he's not in the team training. He's doing warm-up drills with the team, and then he goes back off to do his own training, just to be very clear. He does his own training most of the time, and that's fine. But we need a starting left back, and it is something that they're looking at for this summer. Not this summer, but for January as a potential thing that they're going to need to get done. It is very much a potential left back in January. We've spoken about the names: Anthony Robinson, Kirkus, Aït-Nouri, Gutierrez, names like that. There might be some others they're looking for, but the consideration is starting to change to, we probably need a starting left back. So there's certainly a lot of thought going into that now, after even another setback, you know, because when he got injured, they were disappointed, but thinking, all right, well, he'll be back in 3-4 weeks. We'll be ready to go. We'll get by. We can sort this out. The recurrence, the setbacks, the longer it keeps going on, there's a lot of people thinking that's it. We're going to have to do something about this now, because we cannot rely on him being there for at all. So I think a left back is from what I understand, is definitely being discussed as a serious consideration now for January. But they haven't, they have to fully decide. They need things to do well this year. Like, we need to be in these competitions, like in Europe and in League Cup and in FA Cup, because helps predict our finances, knowing that we have more games and more, all of that from a financial perspective, though our finances should be in good shape. But that's part of it too. Like, if we got bounced out of every competition and we had a game a week for the rest of the year, starting from January, they probably wouldn't go by in January. But as long as there's something to play for, which there definitely is and should be. I mean, I really hope and don't expect us to get bounced out of every cup by the end of the year, then it should be a priority. So at left back, that'll be that'd be something to think about. And yeah, Anthony Robinson is really good. He's a very physical, defensive, good on both ends of the pitch, good getting up and down. We need that. We need that. Now, what I hope today with this lineup is that we do see a bit more of the attacking from Dalot and not as much sitting next to Ugarte, because we have a more physical 6 that we're able to get more attackers forward and into the box. You know, I wanted to talk about this because it's one of the things that, you know, Phil brought this up on the podcast, okay? And, you know, people were when he first said it, I slightly rejected it, okay? Because I thought, come on now, like that's not real, that's not fair. You know, I don't think that's right. And I sort of rejected it. And I know a lot of people's reactions to what he said on this were true. But one of the things I've learned and that I would preach to people is when somebody who isn't an idiot, and Phil is not an idiot, says something, listen and just see if you can understand what they're saying, because he actually had a really good point. He was talking about Xerxes, because I think Xerxes been exceptional, and I think he's key to our whole attack. But he was complaining about not having a striker in the box with Xerxes, someone to get in there for goals. And at first, I totally rejected that thinking, saying that's silly, it's kind of pointless. But then I did understand better what he was saying, and this is the problem. Sorry, with this 3-2-5 at the moment, the way that we're doing it. If you think about it, we discussed it later, and he's talking about the number of men in the box. We know this for a long time now, watching United, that when you watch Liverpool or City or Arsenal, when they attack, they swarm into the box, right? A lot of men get in the box on their attacks. And this was his complaint. And I realize what he's saying here, because when Xerxes drops in, the problem with this team is, guess who else drops in? Bruno, who sits on the edge of the box and does not crash the box. Ahmad, who sits on the edge of the box and cuts inside to the top of the box and does not crash the box. Eriksen, who definitely does not crash the box. So you really end up with one runner in either Rashford or Garnacho running into the box. And even against Palace, it was the same. If you think about our chances, we had 2 chances from Garnacho getting into the box, but there's nobody there. On the rebound, Bruno picked it up and shot. But those were the only chances with people actually going into the box. The other big chances came off set pieces. It was De Ligt, that's Maguire, but it was De Ligt up here off a set piece and Martinez up here off a set piece. Those were our best chances of the game. And then Bruno has a shot from the top of the box right here. The problem is not Xerxes, but I understand his problem. We can create a lot of chances because we've got all these chance creators on the pitch at once. And then you have Dalot here. So now you've got all these players sitting in this 3-2-5, and nobody is getting into the box except one runner off of the left. That's a fact. That is how we play. And so part of our goal scoring problem is that we don't really get scrappy goals, if you think about it, right? We don't make scrappy goals. We don't get poachers in the box type of goals very often. We're not getting midfielders crashing the box and scoring from where we'd like them to. We don't see that a lot. We don't see our midfielders crashing in and getting goals like you would see out of City. You know, when Kevin De Bruyne played false 9 that whole season for Pep Guardiola, their midfielders got a lot of goals. And they always do, right? Because they don't have very direct wingers. Their wingers will be out here. Yes, and so it is ironic. We laughed about that Scott McTominay would be crashing the box. And the thing is, for Bruno to be effective, if Bruno is going to, this is why I mentioned Fulham, okay? Why I like the performance of Fulham more. Bruno and Mount in that game yes, there were a false 9 and a 10. They both got in the box. Bruno had multiple chances in the box. He did not finish them, but he was in the box, crashing it off of the press, and Casemiro was passing through the lines to them. We crashed the box a lot more, and I think that our goal scoring will struggle a little bit until we get more men into the box. And so we need to solve that somehow. If we're going to play a false nine, we need Bruno getting to the box. And to be clear, it is an advantage of perhaps where Mount can add to the team when he plays, is he can crash the box. But we need this, okay? The other way that, of course, teams create more chances, because look at where we create. These are all our creators, so of course we don't have that many guys getting forward. If we got our fullbacks up, we wouldn't need so many creators to be sitting around the box, right? We could actually get people into attack. We could get our forwards into attack if we actually, this is Martinez rather than Dalot, but we could actually get our fullbacks forward. No, I understand Mount hasn't scored, but his movements were in the box there. He should have scored off a Rashford pass that game, from what I recall. He was like in the goalkeeper's 6-yard box on that play. If our fullbacks created more, then we could get more players into the box instead of people having to sit here to create. So, it's a conundrum, and this is why I'm not ready to get overly excited, overly ecstatic off of what we've seen so far. It's nothing to do with agendas and stupid things like that. It's understanding some of the dynamics where we may struggle still, because the dick formation, because we don't. If you look at the chance creation that we made against Palace, it was good, but it was also it is and it isn't. We don't make easy chances. You could say that Garnacho's is an easy chance, but it's a one-on-one, right? Our chances have been set pieces and one-on-ones. Pretty much that's it. But men in the box overloading the other team, we don't do. And that is where you get a lot of easy goals. Getting these men forward with runners, cutbacks. Those are the goals we need to be scoring more of. We need the easy goals. We need them. And yes, if Scott McTominay was here, he'd be crashing the box. But who are you dropping for him? You have to drop a creator, right? So you need Bruno to be making those runs into the box more if he's going to be on the pitch with Xerxes. So I understood what Phil was saying, because at first I kind of rejected it. And the problem isn't really Xerxes, it's the dynamics. Issa, don't start with me, bro. It's the dynamics of the team, right? It's just the dynamics of the team. We've got to sort the dynamics of the team right. I like the dynamics, Al-Mali. It can work, but Bruno needs to be getting beyond the striker for that to work, like he used to for Anthony Martial. I know he can. When Martial was playing false nine, Bruno was getting into the box a lot, and we were crashing the box more. Now, one difference that I will say is that Mason Greenwood, when he was on our team, was also an aggressive attacker. Pause. around that false nine. So we had two inside forwards who would get into the box to score goals around that false nine. I still think Ahmad's been great, but I still think the dynamic of Garnacho would be better there, not canceled. I'm calling him out for it, okay? I think the dynamic with Garnacho might be a bit better there. Yeah. So it's one way or another we have to sort that out. And also at that time, I don't remember who our midfielders were all the time there. But yeah. So that's what we need. Garnacho and Rashford would probably be a better dynamic for getting more runners into the box. Ahmad is very good, but I do wonder if he wouldn't be better in a dynamic with Rasmus Højlund here and Rashford, where he can be creating chances in for them to be running into the box. So those are some of the questions. It's always a trade-off, right? It's there's pluses and minuses to each thing. What I think is part of the problem is that we don't really get much out of our fullbacks creatively, and so we need a lot of creativity from everybody else. So yeah, I mean, Xerxes has done well to get himself into the right position a few times, and should score them. but it's dynamics. Like there was a time, I'm trying to remember what the example was. I feel like there was a time with Arsenal where they did this during their okay years, where they had a lot of creativity, but nobody really getting into the goal. And so you'd get that kind of moving it around, passing it around a lot, but they wouldn't really crash the box and get in there. And it became kind of a meme, about them trying to walk it into the goal, right? And sometimes I feel that way, that like we just don't have the directness in some aspects to get in there. If we want to play like Liverpool, which again we've seen a lot of the indication of playing that way, we need these fullbacks to create. We need these fullbacks to be involved more so that we can get more of our forwards in here, right? We need that. We've been in that situation as well over the years too. But anyway, it's that's what I see are some of the adjustments that would make a big difference to the team overall, is getting some of these guys going forward. So I understood Phil's complaint on that. It's been an issue in all the games to me. It has. If you think about our chances, Southampton, we scored off a set piece, right? 2 set pieces. Both of our first 2 goals came off set pieces. One was a cross in to De Ligt when we had a lot of men forward, and the other one was Rashford through a pile of men when we had men forward off of a corner, right, from the edge of the box. Those are the first 2 goals until the one at the 95th minute. Against Crystal Palace, 2 of our chances, every chance that wasn't Garnacho, came off of a set piece, off of the corners with De Ligt and Lissandra there. And creating goals off set pieces is good. But from open play, we're not making a lot of clear chances in the box with players passing around and moving. We're not making a lot of chances from open play. And that's okay. I'm just, it needs time. But these are the things I'm saying we got to work on. Yes, Xerxes did set up Bruno from open play, but even that was a shot at the top of the box. And he should have finished, to be clear. It was a very nice play. But that play happened here, right? That play happened here. And then moved in and shot from the top of the box. Let's push people deeper. When you watch like most of the top teams chasing a goal, when they really are trying to score, they get camped. I mean, they are camped in the opposition's final third, way up high, moving it around, looking for spaces. We need to be better there. And Isaac, that's the thing. We play in on goal. We don't play around the goal. I'm not sure if I'm making myself clear on this. It's not like a huge criticism, but there's a difference. And it's an area we need to improve in, okay? We're obviously not perfect. But if we want consistent goals, we don't want to have them all come in from getting one-on-one with the goalkeeper, because there is a lot of variance in finishing that way. We don't have to play like Man City. You don't have to play like Man City. But every good team, every top team in league play consistently does create chances in different ways by pinning teams back. And it's not like we played like Man City under Fergie, and there are tons of games where we pin teams in and we just pounded into net. It's not complaining for the sake of it. We've scored 5 goals all season. Grow up. It's 5 goals in 5 games. We need to score more goals. Why are we not scoring enough? That's what's under discussion. So that's what needs to improve. Those are the things that need to improve. It's not just finishing better. I understand what you're saying, but it's not. You have to make consistent chances. You have to sustain attacks. You have to. You've just got to. You have to be able to. And sometimes finishing comes down to, even when people look at XG, they look at chances, but over a long periods of time is when those numbers are particularly relevant. And you need to be able to create certain types of chances. Where are we pounding? Oh man, what is a good one today? You need to be able to create certain types of chances. All chances are not equal. Trying to score purely on one-on-ones, on getting your wingers in behind the defense, is not a consistent way to score goals for us. It isn't. It's not. And it is the majority of our chances at the moment. Now, we've had different ones, but it's funny because, when we made them off of crosses from Rashford to Xerxes against Liverpool, people didn't seem to rate that. But that's what you want. Those are much better chances. We retained possession, recycled around their box, and then crossed it in and made good chances there. That is good. No, I'm not asking to be like City. Some of you are so you go so over the top with things. I understand we were 3-0 down. You don't have to be like City to make easy goal chances. You don't have to be like City to make goals off of crosses and open play. You don't have to be like City to make tap-ins. You don't have to be like City to do cutbacks. These are things every team does. These are all major, major things. A lot of those crosses came from set pieces, Rico. But yes, those two of them were off of Rashford, and one was, I think, the goal from Southampton. There are many, many different ways to score, and we need to do more of them. That's all. Playing more like City is okay. You don't have to play super boring football. But in the final third, you do. In the final third, you absolutely want to look more like Man City. They make cutback after cutback after cutback because it's bread and butter football. It's bread and butter football. We don't make those goals. And to do those goals, you need to get men in the box. Okay? Otherwise, the conversion will always be hit or miss. All chances are not created equal. We will struggle to finish. We will struggle to finish these types of chances. There are easier chances that you can make. Spurs don't make cutbacks, but still score goals. Spurs play exactly as fast. No, I don't think you're correct on that. I don't think you're correct on that. That's my opinion. I don't think that Spurs particularly play like us. I don't think they particularly do. Spurs are a lot more swarming in the box. They make a lot of cutbacks. They make a lot of overloads. Their wingers get to the line and cut it back quite often. I don't think that they quite play like us. They created loads and loads of cutbacks. And that makes sense. Cutbacks are the easiest ones in football. If you can give me 3 examples of a chance created off of a cutback this season, then I'd be surprised. I can think of one. We scored against Southampton with it, right? Garnacho's goal. It was a cutback at the end of the game when we were already up and it was pretty much over. But you see that at the end of Southampton. Of course, it's opinion-based. But, yeah, Dalot to Garnacho, yeah. At the end of the game, but did you see? We were surrounding them. They were down to 10 men. And they were hemmed in deep. We were passing it around, moving it. And then we pass through the lines and make the cutbacks. That's how you make those chances, by hemming teams in and then getting the overloads and the runners into the box. No, cutbacks are not the hardest thing in football. They're actually one of the most basic attacking patterns that teams go for. Teams do it to us. Last year, we conceded like 25 goals on cutbacks. We were so cut open by teams last year on cutbacks. You could, every single game we conceded a cutback last year. It's the most basic attacking pattern that every team in the league, bar like 2 or 3 who really only go long, attempt to do. We conceded them to everybody last year. It is a very basic attacking pattern and one that we need to do a lot more. But in order to do it, you do need to get runners into the box. Liverpool under Klopp scored with crosses. A lot of crosses and a lot of cutbacks, right? As well as playing direct and behind. We need to be able to add 3 players. You know, we need to be able to add our again, this is progress. This isn't should be taken as like, this shouldn't be taken as huge criticism or something like that. It's about progressing and adding more and more chances. Yeah, Eze should have scored on a cutback as well. You're right. One-on-ones with the keeper are easy and they're not. They're easy and they're not. The 3-2-5 and playing this way is not new. I mean, you know, you don't have to put it into a formation, but it's not new. I mean, we used to do this all the time. One-on-ones with a keeper are easy and they're not. When you're getting like 1 a game and that's your only shot, like you think about Rashford, right? He's had 1 shot, 1 game he's had shots, right? Which was the Southampton game and he scored. When you're getting so few chances, it's hard to score because you don't get in a rhythm of creating and shooting and getting shots on target. We saw it before. It can be easy and it cannot be. But yes, our wide players are consistently left isolated, beating 2 or 3 defenders with, yeah. Right, so you need either your midfielders to run through or your fullbacks to run outside to create those overloads. And yeah, Garnacho's one-on-one was tough, weaker foot. The other factor, like the second one, you have so little time, right? It wasn't like he has all the time in the world. Dowlow's ball into him was fired and it was bouncing, right? It bounces right before his foot and he's got to just direct it on goal. 1 touch, right? And that's a tough finish. That's a really tough finish. It's a high XG chance. It's a really tough finish. Those are tougher to finish than, you know, like the goal he scored against Southampton, which was a great cutback goal. So look, it's just discussion. This is what it's all about, is how do we get better and better? How do we score more and more goals? How do we, you know, continue to progress at a big deal? The other factor in this that I would like to see is with, you know, is with all of this, using Ugarte to settle the midfield. So, because Ten Hag has played this way, by the way, with this kind of diamond, to get the extra man forward, to get this fullback who can get involved in the attack and back. He's done this a lot at Ajax and things like that too, so I know he can. The sort of double diamond formation that in the middle, he'd set this team up this way plenty of times. Actually, I think it was actually even with a keeper, funnily enough, where you get your fullbacks able to move up too, and you know, getting more players involved in the attack. You need a lot of work from your fullbacks to do it, but there's a lot of different ways. I understand we're easy to transition when you do a 3-1-6, but I don't think that's because of the formation. I don't think that it was a tactical issue so much, like it was, right? But that depends. If you do a 3-1-6 and, you know, your line is sat all the way deep here and you have Casemiro who can't run here, then it's a problem. But if you're going to really commit to the press and push everybody up, then you can do it. You absolutely can. Teams do it. They commit to the attack. We can, with the right personnel. We can do it with the right personnel if we're aggressive enough. But you really, really have to commit to it too. That's the thing. Like, you can't half-ass a 3-1-6, right? And to some degree, that was the problem. If you're gonna play that, you've got to play the high line. You have to make the pitch very small. If the pitch is big, then it's a problem. And we have the players to do it. I mean, we may lack a little pace in the back line still, to be honest. Until Lenny Yoro comes into the team, we might lack a little bit of pace in the back line. But, you know, not much you can do about that. So, yeah, those are the things that I think. Those are my opinions, but that's where, you know, this issue on finishing, that's why, you know, I listened to Phil, because it wasn't my opinion at first. Right. Yes, correct, Eric. Mazraoui not been overlapping recently. It's like, I listened to Phil because what he said, it made a lot of sense. And when I look at the dynamics of it, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I see that. We need more attackers in the box. How do we do that? And I think the issue is if you do this 3-2-5 with all these creators on the pitch, then we never will. The big up link isn't working for you? Hang on. Maybe it's the specific here. Just try this. You should just be able to sign up. You don't need a code or anything like that. Just try that link. Fullback's not overlapping has to be instructional because there's no way except none. Well, it is instructional. It is, for sure. But somehow we have to figure out how to do it. One of them has to be able to overlap, right? And the other factor I look at is like, this is okay for now, right? No, Xerxes has been one of our best players. That's the thing. It's sort of an interesting thing because we're underperforming in certain ways, but I don't really have like, yeah, who are they creating for exactly? I don't really have like much complaints about our personnel, but it's putting the dynamics together. And that's, of course, Eric's job to figure that out. But let's say we get a left-footed center back and Luke Shaw comes in. This doesn't work anymore. That's why we can't do this forever. Halftime oranges. Eric's in 4 games in 10 days. Leg's going to fall off. Yeah, hopefully it's just his legs. Hopefully it's just his legs. I worry about Ericsson. But, you know, like with Ugarte in here, we've got to figure out how to do. I understand that helps in build-up, but you don't have to do it that way. If Luke Shaw is in this team as a left footer, he is not doing it the same way. With his left-footed things where he's strong is carrying the ball up this side and through the middle, not inverting into here because then the left-footed angles don't work anymore. In big part, this works because of Dallow's right-footed. So his passing angles are better to move the ball around to the right side when inverting. Shaw's strength is carrying the ball up through here. So you've got to be able to get this sole midfielder thing kind of going. That's what I think that's you know, it's a solution. It's a solution. It's a solution. Yes. Shaw could tuck into the back 3 and then Dallow inverts on the other side, but I think it's still a temporary solution. And I think we'll still struggle to score goals if that's our solution because we still won't have enough men getting forward. No overlaps and not enough people running into the box. And we will struggle to score some goals. That's my opinion on it. But yeah, I mean, looking at just overall on a couple of news, I do want to share a couple of other pieces of news here. Like I said, I mentioned about the left back becoming a priority. You've seen a lot of stories that are continuing to go kind of confirming what I was saying a few weeks ago about United also looking at young midfielders. And there's been talk of Chris Rigg and other ones. United have been looking at a lot of midfielders. I've mentioned Hackney, Nipan, and Franco Mastantuono. And my understanding of it is that of those, I would say Mastantuono is far and away the least likely to happen. I don't think United are going to be signing Mastantuono anytime. I don't think they're going to be signing him. But they are looking at a lot of young midfielders. There's been, you know, there's Nipan, as we know. Chris Rigg at this point in time is being scouted. They're watching others. They definitely want to get a jump on moving, you know, ahead for some young midfielders. We talked about Adam Wharton. Now, I thought Adam Wharton was really bad for Palace, by the way. I mean, it's one game. You don't want to judge off of one game. But damn, he was awful. I mean, he rightfully got hooked at halftime because he was awful. He was absolutely atrocious. But, you know, I think getting another midfielder into this team would be certainly helpful, of course. From a rotational standpoint, a young player, somebody who could potentially in the long term replace Bruno as well. There's a few different styles of midfielders being looked at. So, you know, that is important. That is an important thing, you know, to consider. But yeah, so they're looking at young midfielders, I think, and as I understand it, I would not think that they're going to be signing Mastantuono. Okay, that I wanted to be clear. They're still interested in the other ones, though, at the same time. Just trying to look at something really quick. Here. Oh, this shows it so well. Okay? I want to show you this because it's This is it's so funny because when I did this on the lineup with all these people in a line, watch this. I had this on the screen, right? All these guys in a line kind of looking like this. And it says you're creating for no one. Look at our team shape against Palace. I don't know how I missed this. Look at this. This is Phil's complaint. I actually understood it once I stopped and thought about it. Look at this. They're all creators sitting and waiting. It's exactly what we were just demonstrating. I had actually not looked at that before, but that is a problem. You had Kabi Menu in here for now, but you had all these creators, right? You have all of them. And how are you going to beat this? You're just matching them. Yeah, it is why you have control. You have a 5-man midfield. Xerxes in there, Dallo in there, right? You have a 5-man midfield, so of course you can get control. But you have no penetration, right? You have no penetration. As the game went on, Palace realized that more and more. And that's why they were able to take the game back from us. And compare it to Barnsley. Now, it's a low league opposition, but look at all the forwards, right? Rashford forward. Garnacho forward. Anthony even forward. Eriksen forward. This is a more, penetrative state, than than this, okay? Chill out today, okay? Chill out today. But yeah, this is sort of funny. I think that's funny. I think that's kind of a funny position. Let's look at Southampton. Because I don't remember. Same sort of issue, you see. It's kind of flat in the front, right? It's the same kind of issue. How many bottles of baby oil you got, Jane? Correct, HBE, and that's the conundrum. That's what we have to figure out. Because I'm not saying this is the wrong team or something, right? But the issue is, if you put on more penetrative players, we got worse. How can we create chances while also having players who get in the box? That's Eric's job to figure out. My suggestion is fullbacks. That's why I say you need to be able to attack through your fullbacks, right? Because if you're putting players who get in the box more, then you need fullbacks to create, because you're losing creators. So you need creativity from somewhere else. That's why I think fullbacks are important, creating those overloads. That's his problem to solve. I don't know the fucking answer. But this is an interesting dynamic of a situation. How do we figure this out? He's got to figure it out. He's the manager. That's his job. But I do think this is the crux of the whole thing. And this is what is going to determine whether Ten Hag ends up does a good job, sorts the season, we do well this year or not. Which is, can you get that attacking threat without losing that creativity against good teams, against Premier League opposition? We did it against Barnsley. We had Casemiro and Ugarte and Eriksen, and those front three were getting in behind. They were running, but we still had enough creativity. But Liam, that's true. Why not Kabi Menu? Why can't this be Kabi Menu, right? And Ugarte working hard and getting our fullbacks forward, into the box and doing overlaps. Why can't it be Kabi Menu and Ugarte? That's enough hard work in the midfield. We know Kabi Menu can work hard in the midfield. We know Ugarte has the legs in the midfield, but that's why we need Ugarte going so much, because if it's just Menu, the midfield is too open to do that. That's why you need that extra fullback. So this is the thing. This is the trouble, right? This is the puzzle for Ten Hag to solve, that we cannot do this forever, a line of forwards that can't get in there. That's what he's got to solve. It is. To me, this is the interesting conundrum. Yeah. Look, every good team uses fullbacks, in to attack. I think, in my opinion anyway, fullbacks, attacking fullback. Madrid use fullbacks to get in the box, right? Madrid have used fullbacks. Madrid aren't City. how many great fullbacks you remember from Madrid who were involved in the attack, were involved in scoring goals and creating chances? How many? Loads and loads and loads. I mean, they've had some of the best fullbacks of all time at Madrid. They don't play like City. You don't have to play a boring, pass forever style of play to be creative with your fullbacks. It's the same with Liverpool, for what it's worth. I mean, looking at Liverpool's shape, you can see they have their wingers forward on to kind of make the penetrative runs here. In the games that they've won. Curious. AC Milan. What was their all right, go away ads. Thank you. I mean, we know how these guys play, right? This looks a little bit more like us, but then their fullbacks are really high, not deep. They're really high. It's a big difference for sure. City is boring, but you don't have to play that way. You don't have to play like City exactly. When playing like City would mean playing in the middle third like City. The attacking third is where we need more. Not in the middle third. It's in the attacking third. And in the attacking third, there's a lot of things that work. Yeah, Spurs game will show us a lot. At the same time, it won't. I think it will because it's a good test. It's a good game. But Spurs are so, the way that Spurs concede chances is going to be, we're going to get a few big opportunities on the run. That's how Spurs concede goals. So it's not going to tell us that much because it's very unlikely we're going to end up camped around our box or something like that. They concede big chances on the run. I agree with you, Liam. Klopp's Liverpool, when they still had continued, didn't have balance. We play almost like that, but everything still has to run through Bruno for now. And so if we were to spread that out and say, let's create with all these other people, then then that could be different. Then we could attack a bit more, a bit differently, a bit better. So Villa will be a very good test. They don't play quite as high a suicide line as they did last year. In terms of how they play anyway, it doesn't seem as over the top. Last year felt like it was aggressively over the top in terms of how they played. That suited us, but I think that'll be a good test. Porto away will be a good test too. Porto is a tough team, physical team. The leagues in Portugal play physical football. I think that'll be a very tough test as well. Away from home, can we create? You like the Brentford coach? Yeah, I mean, people used to laugh last year when I talked about Thomas Frank and United liking him. I mean, Thomas Frank's a damn good coach. He doesn't get the respect he has because he's at Brentford, but he's a damn good coach. The Spurs game is a big game for Ten Hag. Look, they all are, but the thing is that I get that. You look, Porto losing away, I get it, but I don't write off teams like that based on other different results and things like that. I get that. But at home in Portugal is a bit different. We need more. Anyway, look, I've had conversations with people about artificial grass. Yeah, that doesn't help. We've had our struggles on those pitches too against bad teams in recent years. But I've had conversations with people about and this is more informational based, okay? So I'll clear this up, push my opinions away for a second and have this discussion. I've had conversations with people who know things, okay, about where United are at under Ten Hag and what the view is and things like that. And the view is certainly that there are promising signs of progress, but there are very much holes. And I made a video discussing this on Monday about our progress, and it was more calm than my post-match video of Palace, but discussing the issues. I don't just bring these things up because I like to talk about them, but because I do know these are the things that are being looked at. The balance of how you of creating chances without opening up the midfield is still a concern. And people who are overseeing United, who are managing and of the hierarchy at United, are looking at, we see progress, but there are still problems with the team. And they want to see Ten Hag fix them. And this is in line with that. These are some of the issues that need to be fixed. Right. That's the question, HBE, is that how much of the progress is just because we have better players and how much is Ten Hag and the coaches? Well, there is progress, and certainly having better players is a part of that. We don't want to take away credit for Ten Hag because he's supposed to organize those players. But with the players available, they do think we should be able to consistently put out performances where we create chances, but also high quality chances, also not sporadic chances, but also without having to open up the team too much to do so and be vulnerable. They want to see him solve this problem, because there is a problem of creating goals and not being open. In some of the games, like against Liverpool, we were too open. We didn't create enough. We were too open. We've had better results recently, but they've been against very low opposition. And today is still low opposition. We can only play the team that's in front of you. But against the better teams, I mean, we played 2 relegation candidates in Barnsley. It's not enough to convince. Against Fulham, our chance creation was okay. Against Brighton, it was not that good, actually. There was good aspects, but our chance creation was not great. So there's progress, but there's still problems to solve. That's the point. And they want to see how he solves these problems. And so some of the things I'm discussing here, solving these problems is how do we solve those problems? Ten Hag said TNT, the Garnacho and Rashford is better on the left. I disagree with him, but I understand why he's saying that. Garnacho is more of a goal threat on the left, and that Ten Hag values more. We've kind of been over that. He values players making goals, scoring and which is understandable, but he values goal scorers, like making a goal out on the break or out of nothing, more than other things. He's been, in my opinion, a little over-reliant on that at times. I think Garnacho's been way better on the right, like way better. I mean, he played on the left. Palace didn't finish the chances, and I thought outside of that was not really in the game. I think on the right, he's much more creative and he's much more dynamic in what he does. But it is what it is. He sees the game a little bit differently. But these are the things that is up to Ten Hag to solve. These are the things that are going to decide whether he has a good season, whether he convinces or not, because he still does have to convince over the course of the season. We still need to have a good year. We want to balance getting results and consistent performances. There's games you can lose. There's games that you really shouldn't lose. So there's good signs, but there are holes. And yes, Avrab, you expect to see holes, but it's more like tactical holes, because you can't, because those won't fix with improving the players, right? I'm sure he prefers the left. He played his whole youth career there. Until last season, he never played on the right. He never, ever played on the right. So it makes sense. Of course he does, Yeah, he was better I wouldn't say he had a bad game, but I don't think he did. Beyond those chances, he wasn't that involved. I think on the right, he's more involved in helping the team. We want to not have tactical holes. We want to have where the setup is correct and you're just trying to fix it. Like players have to get more familiar, build more chemistry, improve. We have young players. You want to see improvement there. You want to have the tactics right so that you're ready to go, but you just need to improve the players in those positions, improve their understanding with each other, improve the execution. We did see that. I mean, we saw that with Arsenal's growth, where they had the tactics pretty well there. How they play now was how they were playing 2-3 years ago, but they had to improve the players. Liverpool, we saw the same thing under Klopp. Before they got Van Dijk in, they were playing really well. A certain style, the holes were pretty much personnel based. They didn't have a top center back. They didn't have a good goalkeeper. When they sorted those things out, they immediately started challenging. So that's the position that the management want to see us in, that we have a solid tactical plan that doesn't have holes. And then you can specifically say it's on needing a better player, right? It's on this player's not working in that position, is not good enough, or they just need to improve the partnerships, or we just don't quite have enough there, right? That's what they want to see. That would, to them, tell them, okay, Ten Hag's doing a good job. We can see that it's there. We just need a better player in that position, or we just need them to continue to play and improve. So that's where they need to get better. Yeah, that's what we need to see. moving forward. That's their measurement, because you can see that. You can look and say, is it a tactical issue, or are we just not good enough at execution yet because of the personnel, or they're just not familiar? You can see that. There are positions where it's like that. You know, the front three, I think between Xerxes, Rashford, and Ahmad, and that's one of the reasons that Ahmad keeps playing, they were building a relationship that worked really well together. In the last few games they've played together, they did, you could see it building, and that's good. But there's other things, you know, that have to happen there. That's an interesting point. I don't think Garnacho, I've watched Garnacho at the youth level and stuff too. It's not just about a few times on the left. He was, yeah, he likes goal threats. Yeah, he was poor last season before he switched to the right. I think people misremember a lot of stuff about that here. And it's not a criticism of him. I thought he was a lot, when he switched to the right, he was so much better. He switched to the right around Christmas. Yeah, I could probably even show it. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm quite positive that he was much better on the right. Here, look. This is Garnacho on the left, right? And he had a couple of goals chances. He switched to the right, and yeah, and consistently 2 goals. Assist. This says it's on the left, but I think he was more consistent on the right. Look at the FA Cup, right wing. Played the FA Cup final, scored a goal from the right wing, right? Against Liverpool, scored a goal. Yeah, I mean, I think he actually had a better season when he was on the right than the left, even statistically last year. Yeah, Avrad, I agree. They finished 5th, but you could see they were playing the way they wanted to play, and when they fixed the players... What's going on? Hang on. There we go. Sorry, I lost you all for a second. My thing says that I lost connection for a moment, but should be back now. Yeah, they both did really similar things. Thank you. Okay, so... Yes, that's how I see it. That's where we need to be at. That's where we need to go. So anyway, yes, I'm going to end it here so I have time to prepare before watch along. Again, I will be watching on here. Please do join me. Please do join me. Yes, please do join. Come hang out. You don't need a code or anything to sign up now. It's free. It's been a lot of fun. The watch alongs have been a really great time. They've been really fun to participate in and all of that. I can bring people in to chat, halftime, full time, all of that. That's a good time. Click the link below, come sign up, come hang out. And again, I'll be starting to record some stuff on there soon because that will come to YouTube as well, just when we get like the tactics board and things. But it's cool. There's a scoreboard. There's all sorts of fun stuff once the stream gets going. So anyway, thank you all for hanging out with me today. Hopefully we have a good match and we see some of these... We see some improvement in these areas continue. Hopefully it's more like Barnsley. That was a fun one to watch, and that's a fun one to do. So yeah, have a good rest of your day, and hope for a win for United. And if you don't come to the watch along, then I will see you in post match or tomorrow or anywhere else. Okay, have a good one.